I wanted to ask you guys a couple questions if I could. I've always had trouble understanding what craving is. I don't quite get it. Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it both? And it's on, we do these intakes and it's sort of like, do you have craving, yes or no? And I'm always like, does it matter? So can you guys tell me about what craving is and feels like for you guys?
Sure. David, you go first.
It's a good question. I think it's sort of feels elusive, like addiction to me. Craving. I crave candy, and it'll usually, especially with candy or sugar, it'll start with some kind of need to sort of fill some type of like something like either anxiety or loneliness or something that is uncomfortable to me. And I'm sort of reaching out to something external to satisfy whatever emotion or hardship that I'm feeling.
Mhm.
And, I guess it, for me, I have lots of cravings about lots of things, and it goes to the level, the intensity of the craving. When I first started drinking again, on the Sinclair Method, it was almost immediate how fast my craving for alcohol came back. Uh,
Mhm.
it shocked me. I was just like, and the funny thing is, I think Sam, you might have talked about this, where you sort of vacillated from, am I or am I not, when you were starting traditional recovery, wondering if you were, you had alcohol use disorder. Like you, I had no idea either until I started drinking again after a 2.5 year absence.
Mhm.
And once I started drinking again on naltrexone, always compliant, the craving for alcohol came back. Like it almost knocked me over. And I was like, whoa, you definitely have alcohol use disorder, because it was physical. And I just had forgotten how intense it was. Um, Fortunately, by staying compliant and staying the course and, continuing to do this Sinclair method, once my brain stopped getting, well, after repetition, my brain started to realize that it wasn't getting what it used to get with the endorphins getting into the neural pathways. I'm not a science person, but this is how it was told to me. Once those endorphins were getting blocked repeatedly over time, my brain was like, "Ugh, okay, well, I'm not gonna get what I want from this, or he's not gonna feed me alcohol the way I need it to be fed. I'm moving on." Um, until that decline happened, that was really confusing for me in the beginning, because I was like, "Wow, is this a craving, or is this a full blown addiction?" Um, and for me, what I thought was really brilliant about um, naltrexone was that it pharmacologically reduced my interest in alcohol, as opposed to prior to that, it was more, I had to rely on my intellect, or, as I was told, maybe a spiritual side of myself to sort of
Mhm.
like undo the craving. Um, I couldn't do that. I wasn't able to do that. And believe me, I tried for 2.5 years, and it wasn't happening. No matter, what I attempted to do, I just couldn't like unthink the craving or give it away to something else. But, through this medication, it just happened biologically.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I don't know if I've answered your question, but
No, no, you did, and I think that the way you described the way naltrexone works is spot on.
yeah,
Actually,
it's almost like it did work for me that was being asked of me
yeah,
before to do for myself.
yeah, no,
And I
that's
think
good.
as humans, that's a really big ask of ourselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, now
I don't know, Sam, maybe you can,
Well,
share your
no,
experience.
yours was far more intelligent than my craving. Mine was just straight to it, physical, mental, everything. You would run over everything to get what you wanted. That's
Mhm.
craving for
Mm,
me was an absolutely uncontrollable pull towards something that you knew wasn't good for you. And
But you
I
did it
just,
anyway.
yeah, yeah, and did it anyway. Like craving, oh my God, I would have done anything. I mean, you used to hear the stories about, and I would do this somewhat to some extent. You'd hear this great stories about, somebody who was staying out in the woods and there was alcohol a million miles away and they walked to a liquor store with one shoe, bring their kids to go and find, and all they found was one of those 2 liters of Rockaberry Cooler or like some really bad malt beer. And they were like, who cares? Give it to me. And, da, da, da. And again, that's that habit or addiction. Is that the physical body going, give me this? Or is it, craving is something that you cannot stop and I will justify it no matter what. I'll get it into me, get it into me, get it into me. Get me that thing right now. And I would boot home as fast as I could. And whatever I had in the house, it was, even if it was disgusting, whatever, even if it was scotch or whatever I would never have drank, just to crave the alcohol, you didn't even care. So craving for me was all consuming. I'm going to do this. Don't stop me. I know an hour ago I was talking myself out of it, but I'm not talking myself out of it now. Now I do this right now. That was
that's really intense.
Yeah.
Your craving is very intense. David's, yours is intense as well. And I think for me, as you guys are talking, I'm going, okay, savory snacks. That's my downfall.
Yeah.
Coffee, not as bad, but now that's why cigarettes are so addictive, because they spike the pleasure response, more of a spike, I think. And that's why drugs taken by the fastest route possible to the brain are more addicting than those not. So because they get to your brain fast, and that's where the association with not just pleasure, but sometimes intense euphoria.
Yeah. And now, well, and that's, alcohol got you there, but that window of euphoria was, like halfway through the second glass of wine, I hit that warm spot that, oh my God, everything's going away. But unfortunately, you don't stay there. It's like a drug addict as well, from what I hear. You can't stop there and you never get to find that again. It's here, stop, skip, stop. And then you keep going and then it takes you to the other side and then all that's over again.